One of the reasons why you analyzed your data and you still got misleading results was because you actually did not clean your data well. First of all, welcome to my cyberspace. I'm Jjay Inside. I'm back like I never left. In this video, I'm going to be sharing about like the part 7 of the data analysis techniques, so which is data cleaning and data readiness method as a data analyst. So majority of what we do as a data expert is actually trying to clean the data and make sure it's ready for analysis, because if your data is bad, you're going to have bad results. It's basically garbage in, garbage out. So in this video, I will teach you some of the real code techniques that you need to have or you need to have in your toolbox for you to clean your data. And I would advise you to actually watch like the other videos we made on this data analysis techniques so that you can have a better understanding of what are the best approach for you to work as a data expert, right? So it's not just about using tools like Excel, Power BI, or SQL, or all of those. So you need to understand the thinking pattern of a data expert. So we see here that so the data cleaning techniques is, so first of all, I will tell you that you want to keep a duplicate of your data. So keeping a duplicate is you being able to, just in case you want to revert back like to the changes that you made, right? You don't want to decision, but you're like, oh, I don't want to drop this data, I don't want to drop this column, because you're having a feeling of what if you probably need that information. So the best bet is to keep a duplicate. So if your data is in a database or a data warehouse, you already know you don't need to necessarily keep a duplicate. But if it's a CSV file or a flat file or JSON file or a file that is on your local machine, you will need to keep a duplicate for that. So something you also need to do is to be able to identify what a good data looks like. So you need to know for your company or the organization or the data you're looking at, like, is this a very good data? So you need to recognize. So for you to know what is fake, you don't need to try to find out all of the fake stuff, right? You just need to know what the original looks like. So make sure you try to understand like what the good data should look like, and I mean as much as you can, whatever you know about the data, right? And also always give room for data cleaning before data analysis. So that's a very good data analysis approach. So when you say you want to deliver a project, like let's say next week, factor in the fact that you are going to also clean the data. So that's what people don't think about, because almost when we also think about data cleaning, sometimes it's also like data transformation. Probably it was intended that data should be collected that way, so you need to also do some manipulation, transform it to like the face that you want it to be. Also, the consistency of the data with the code book description. And in case you don't know what a code book is, check out the previous video. But the summary of a code book is a data that describes the data, like a metadata, like a data that tells you that, okay, this is what this stuffs mean. So you look at the code book and say, okay, based off of the actual data, is there a correlation? Are they like in line with each other, right? Is the data saying what the code book is saying it should say? So make sure there's consistency. So that's one of the ways to ensure that you're properly cleaning your data. Also, like ensure there's proper labeling, right? Avoid use of space. So in case you probably have to like do anything, so make sure you avoid the use of space in your naming convention. So for example, you want to say stuff like I don't know why child abuse came to mind, so right, just write child underscore abuse instead of write child space abuse, right? Or you're trying to say household income, right? I think that's a very good example. So household income, so you write household underscore income. I think that's just a better approach in your naming convention. That's for your column names, right? Or your variables and all that. But within your column, like say for example you say sex, which is a column name, but we have male and female, you can have spaces in between those names, that is fine. Also, one of the things you just want to do is that if the result looks funny or irrational, look at the data carefully. So if you're analyzing something, it's already looking a little bit weird, this is not making sense, so you have to put on your thinking cap as a data expert, not just as like whatever like you think, oh, this is like what the result is giving me, right? So think, what does this look like? Does this make sense when you think about it? Other things you also need to do is, so you want to run some preliminary analysis. So you probably might want to like make sure you do things like maybe the descriptive statistics like mean, median, and mode before you start to go into regression, classification, and all of those kind of things. So do something basic. It could even be as simple as doing like I said, some basic statistics. Look out for weird results. So also try to point out for human errors and misinterpretation. Ensure that things are properly named. Look out for empty or non-values, and also you also want to be sure that there's no wrong labeling. So those are the things you start to check out when you look at the data. You'd also be sure that there are no duplicate columns and there are no like duplicate rows, right? Also be sure that there's no like filtering applied to the data already. Also, one thing you want to do is so let's try to identify like empty column. So we see based off of this data, so we see here that actually if you look at the information for school, we see we have bachelor's and we have bachelor's degree. So according to like the data would see bachelor's and bachelor's degree separately. So part of your cleaning is you want to maintain that consistency. So if it's bachelor's, you keep it as bachelor's. If it's bachelor's degree, you all have everything to be bachelor's degree. And you would also see like there's also partial high school, there's partial college. So you see that also we see missing information here for income, and you could guess why people would not put in their income, right? And that's one thing you want to see. We see for gender, we see mostly it's like F male. So you're like, what does F mean? Well, you can assume that F means female and M means male, but that's when you need to like check consistency with the code book. But one of the things we see here is that we have duplicates column. So we see there's like gender here, there's gender here, so you need to delete one of them, and that's that about that. You would also see like if they purchased a bike, so you get it to just be sure that okay, there are no duplicates. So if you look at this, right, 25595, 25595, so this 4 and this 4, they are duplicates, so you need to like take away those duplicates. So those are one of the things you want to do and all that. So you also see here, you see that we have skilled manual, and here it's like manual, so that means that's something you probably want to look out for. So just a bunch of things. So you need to understand your data well to be able to properly do the cleaning. And what are the things you can do in case you have outliers? So outliers is like things that doesn't come like in like the exact range of numbers that things are supposed to be. So for example, if you see, this might not be a good example, but let's assume all of this number is like 40,000, 70,000, and all of a sudden this number is like, let's say $1.6 million. That's an outlier, right? Because it doesn't look as though like it doesn't fall within the normal range. And let's say also it's like $1,000, and majority of the number is like 10,000, 20,000. So I would advise you to try to know that okay, that is an outlier, and there are different ways to deal with outlier. It's either you take them out of the analysis if there are very few. Another thing also is using your common sense. You could also try to do like what's the difference between the mean and median of the other information that we have there. So for example, for the income, you can just say I'm going to replace this, let's say $1,000 here, with the average for everything, or the same thing with the $1.6 million. And you could also use a principle for IQR. I'm not going to be talking about that in this video, and that is that. So there is also something we call reliability and validity. So this is just trying to see if your data is like reliable. External validity, internal validity, I don't want to go into details of that, but I would say that basically as data experts, ensure that you give time to cleaning your data before rushing into analysis, because if the data is not good, the analysis also would not also be good. In case this video was a value for time, do well to like, subscribe, and follow and share. I'm seeing you in the next video. Ciao.